Okay, so besides breaking open a can or using one of those convenient soups that are, in styrofoam, if you will, I was craving my homemade chicken soup, but there's a rapid way that you can do it. Let's talk about this, and I'll be right back. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Jan. Welcome to another episode of my channel, the Save Money More with Jan channel. How are you doing today? Now, as you might remember in a previous video, I kept clearing my throat, a little bit of a dry cough, blah, 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 due to the weather, due to the heat, the artificial heat that warms up the place. You know, it's nice, it's wonderful to have, keeps you warm. I love it, but it does give me a little bit of dryness sometimes. So I said, you know what? I want to make me some homemade chicken soup, but I want it now. I also want it conveniently. So just want to offer you a couple of quick tips that I did. All right. This is the easiest, and I'm telling you. Now, you know those boneless chicken breasts, the kind that you get from, let's say, Purdue, and it's already nicely shrink wrapped for you whenever you need it. I took it straight from the freezer. Okay, filled up a pot of water. I filled it up with I fill up with about 6 to 8 cups of water. I eyeball it, put in my bouillon cubes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I started that boiling. So I took down those chickens. I took a couple of those breast pieces down. They're already cleaned up. No fuss, no muss. I took it straight from the freezer. I'm not even kidding you. Threw them in straight from the freezer. And in the meantime, while that was doing what it was doing, I decided to get a fresh onion and slice and dice it. And that took about what, a minute? But I also, here's where it's rapid preparation, baby carrots. You cannot go wrong with fresh baby carrots. Gave it a quick rinse, even though I really didn't have to because it's going to be boiled out in the soup. But still, I just gave it a quick rinse. And I threw in a bunch of those already nicely done up, to me, perfect size for soups, baby carrots. So I had my onion fresh and my fresh baby carrots and my fresh chicken. Then I realized I had frozen in the freezer some old, very thin spaghetti. And it was the kind that was made like with an oil based sauce. It was like garlicky oil. So I said, "Ooh, this is perfect." I threw that block of frozen spaghetti with oil and garlic in to that soup. This everything was like either cold or frozen, but everything was done and everything was homemade and it was cooked. Then I threw in some seasoning that I enjoy, like adobo, a pinch of this, a dash of that, things that I know I like. And I just let that thing simmer for like, I don't know, an hour and 15 minutes. And then I shut it off. I just like let it sit there another 20 minutes with the heat off, but the pot was still remaining on the stove. And I just sat down like a few minutes back to this rapid homemade soup. So some people say, "Oh, where's the celery?" Of course, I would have loved to have had celery and parsnip. I didn't. So the bottom line is that I worked with what I had. It is not the end of the world if you do not have a recipe ingredient and instead you work with what you have. I ran out of celery, right? So it's okay. I had my onions. I actually had some, I just realized now I had some green onions that I forgot to enter into that. But I had my regular standard, yellowish, white onion, whatever you want to call that onion. And I used that. And I'm okay with just the onions and the fresh baby carrots and the other flavors and the big hunks of those chicken breasts that I put in. And delish, very, very good. And I had those thin spaghettis that was in the freezer. If you ever have leftover spaghetti, especially if it's like in like a clear or an oil-based thing, don't throw it away. Well, don't throw away food in the first place, because to me that is a no-no. Find another way you can include it, save it for another recipe. I mean, I made myself a fresh pot of soup so easily. I think the most work that that soup took was chopping up my onion, which only took a minute. I'm not even kidding you. So this is my version of a rapid homemade chicken soup, not from the can, fresh, 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 and delish. Work with the stuff you have. I'm telling you, that's why freezers are a great place to start. Have an amazing, fantastic day, everybody. Take good care of yourself and your wonderful family. Thank you.